You ever notice that to be a Disney princess, you don't actually have to be a princess? Think about it. Pocahontas isn't a princess, neither is Mulan, but there is one thing that they all have in common. All Disney princesses have a secret superpower. And no, I'm not just talking about waterbending. Let me explain. In the Disney princess movies, the princesses are seen talking to animals a lot. And even though the animals don't always openly speak back, they always seem to act as if they understand the princesses. Think about it. There are examples of this in every Disney princess movie. In the Cinderella movies, Cinderella is the only human seen speaking to mice. This even applies in the 2 sequel movies, excluding the fairy godmother, who doesn't count since she is the embodiment of Cinderella's hope. Another example is Belle's horse Philippe. He's able to understand her. Jasmine has Raj. If she wasn't able to communicate with that thing, it would have eaten her by now. That is a tiger. Just ask Siegfried and Roy. Ariel can talk to sea creatures, which makes sense considering she's also a sea creature, but that doesn't explain why she's able to talk to Scuttle the gull. He's a bird, not a fish. Fish are fish, birds are birds, and never the two shall cross. Even when she turns human, she's still able to understand animals and communicate with them to an extent. Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, Pocahontas, they spend their free time hanging out and singing with animals in the forest instead of having human friends, which isn't out of character for these DP girls. And frankly, the list goes on. Even the Pixar DPers are getting in on it. Meridelle from Pixar abandons her cool movie plot of fighting for her own hand in place of spending the whole movie talking to a bear.
Sorry, I don't speak bear.
Wait, Meridelle goes on record saying that she doesn't speak bear? Okay, that might seem like it hurts the theory, but not necessarily. We'll get back to that in a bit. Now, I know what you're all thinking. It's not just the princesses talking to animals in the movie, everyone does. Having an animal sidekick that the main character can talk to is a norm in Disney cartoons. But is it that normal for male characters? When the male characters communicate to animals, there's usually an asterisk behind the logic. Like Tarzan and Mowgli, for instance, they were raised by animals, so that's the logic behind them being able to speak the same language. Kristoff is pretending with Sven, and yeah, Aladdin talks to Apu, but monkeys in real life understand humans with sign language. We already communicate with orangutans in the real world, so that explains away all the males talking to animals. Now on to the theory. I believe that there is a Disney property that actually explains this Doolittle-esque ability to speak to animals, and the property is a Disney Junior show called This show is about a little girl that was doing all right but became a princess overnight. In the pilot movie, Sophia is given an amulet by her stepfather, King Roland. This amulet is magical and gives Sophia powers. Among the many powers she receives is she's able to summon the other Disney princesses. The princesses usually come, give her advice, maybe sing an inspirational song or two, and then go on their way. But I find it kind of weird that Sophia is able to summon these princesses at all. I mean, what's the logic behind this power? Why these specific characters, not just, random townspeople? I think that's the reason the princesses can be summoned with the amulet is because they all, at one point or another, owned it. And the reason why other Disney princesses aren't seen wearing the amulet in their respected movies is because the amulet can change shape and color depending on who's wearing it. When Sophia is turned into a different animal or made smaller, the amulet changes shape with her. And it has even changed color from red to purple, after the spirit of Elena of Avalon left it. So there's precedent for it changing shape and size. Also, did I forget to mention that the main power the amulet gives Sophia is the ability to talk to animals? I think the Disney princesses are always singing and talking to animals because they had the amulet at these times and they're using the amulet powers to communicate with them. There is an episode in Sophia the First called Beauty is the Beast. In it, Sophia's amulet starts glowing and she thinks a princess is being summoned, but instead, Sophia is summoned to help a princess named Charlotte. During the episode, it is revealed that Charlotte once owned the amulet. Dun dun dun. So wouldn't it make sense that the reason the amulet summoned Sophia to help is the same reason the amulet summons princesses to help Sophia? The reason being that once someone wears the amulet, they become connected to it forever. This even explains why Anna and Elsa aren't technically Disney princesses. They must have not been given the amulet and therefore can't understand and speak to animals. So, case closed. All the Disney princesses understand animals because they once owned Sophia's necklace.
Sorry, I don't speak bear.
Oh yeah, I should probably figure out a way to explain this too. Well, that can be explained away very easily. Simply, her movie would have taken place period to her owning the amulet, and therefore she was not able to communicate with animals yet. In the Sophia Wiki, Meridel's age is stated as 16 plus, but she is stated as 16 on the Brave Wiki. This might mean that she is older in her Sophia appearance, and that implies that she could have gotten the amulet after the events of Brave, since she's older in Sophia and you need to own the amulet to be summoned by it. And I also think the reason the amulet summons the princesses when they're still in their teens is because they're being tested by the amulet to help them become a better person, just like how Sophia is being tested by the amulet in her show. The princesses aren't seen as old ladies because they have been deemed worthy by that point and have now passed the amulet on to a next princess, which makes sense since at first I thought when Sophia was summoning the princesses they were all dead long before Sophia the First takes place, but that wouldn't make sense since the Princess of the Frog appears on Sophia the First, and that movie takes place in the 1920s, and Sophia the First takes place way before the 1920s. And when she summons Ariel, Ariel is still in her mermaid form, which would imply that she's being summoned before the events of the Little Mermaid movie. So they're not dead, they're being ripped from time. To further back up that the amulet summons princesses while they're still alive, an original character from the series is summoned at one point named Princess Ivy, and she comments on how she was just imprisoned on an island. That being said, I do think that once the princesses die, their souls are imprisoned in the amulet, and then it gets passed on to the next princess. In one episode, Sophia meets Snow White, but at the end of the same episode, Snow White appears in the mirror just watching her. This further proves that her soul is in the amulet. There's even a scene at the end of the series where Sophia is trapped inside of the amulet with the big baddie of the show, and the Disney princesses show up for more moral support. They're all just in the amulet. This further backs up that when they die, they get trapped inside the amulet. Some of the princesses aren't there, like Ivy, King Roland's mom, Raina. Their souls don't get imprisoned for some reason or another. This could be why the events of Sophia the First even happened in the first place. One of the first things the king does when he marries Sophia's mom is give Sophia that amulet. Why wouldn't he give it to his daughter? After all, it's not like Sophia is the oldest of the siblings or anything. I think it's because he didn't want the curse to take away his daughter's soul. Maybe the curse affected his mom, a person who had owned the amulet before the series started, and the king didn't want his daughter's life to be ruined too. I think that's why he married a commoner, so he could avoid the curse affecting anyone else in his family. Also in the show, there are 9 items, all used by Disney princesses villains in the movie. The only princess that there isn't a weapon for is Belle. Maybe the amulet is secretly the 10th wicked item, and it used to be the magic mirror in Beauty and the Beast. Anyways, in conclusion, the amulet has unquenchable hunger for princesses, and that's why it imprisons so many different princesses' souls. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe so I can quit my fucking job and do this full time. Bye.